and welcome to Easy Gluten Free. Today it's Spaghetti Squash 101. This squash is the perfect low-carb, gluten-free, grain-free pasta substitute for anyone looking to satisfy their spaghetti cravings in a more healthy way. I'm going to show you how to cut it, roast it, and turn it into two different but equally delicious dishes. But before we can make either dish, first we have to slice that squash in half, which might just be the hardest part of this recipe. If you've got a few tips, let me know in the comments below, because without a big strong man in the house, I literally had to resort to using the flat side of my meat mallet to hit it against a heavy chef's knife to give me a good start with this. And once you do have it cut in half, you'll need to scrape out the seeds, which can be done pretty easily with a large spoon, just like you're scraping out a pumpkin. Now drizzle on about a teaspoon of olive oil onto each side, and use a brush to get it evenly distributed, then sprinkle on a little salt and pepper. Then place the squash halves either into a large greased casserole dish or onto a baking sheet. Then bake it in a preheated oven anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes depending on the size. Now when you remove it from the oven, you can give it a few minutes to cool down just a little bit. Then place the squash onto a serving plate. Then use a fork to scrape at the flesh, and you'll see exactly where this squash gets its name. And once you've worked your way around the entire surface, you'll have a giant bowl of this stuff to season however you want. I actually love it with just some butter, salt, and pepper. But today I have a homemade ricotta salata that I showed you how to make in a previous video, but this batch has some cracked peppercorns mixed in. And once you have the butter and half the cheese stirred in, crumble the other half of the cheese on top, add some fresh herbs if you want, maybe a few crushed red pepper flakes, and this is ready to dig into. And once you taste how good this is, I assure you, you won't be missing the spaghetti. And for the other half, I stirred in some marinara sauce, a few tablespoons of ricotta, some pecorino romano, then I topped the whole thing with some grated mozzarella, and the next day I popped it into the oven for 15 minutes and had a totally different but equally delicious lunch. You really gotta try this one. If you haven't had spaghetti squash, you don't know what you're missing, folks. And if you'd like to print a copy of today's recipe, don't forget to visit my blog in the link below. And if you want to see how I turn those spaghetti squash seeds into a tasty little snack in my next video, don't forget to subscribe. See you again soon.